Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, welcome to this podcast. I'm Hiroki, a main personality here, and I'm living in Osaka, Japan. In this channel, I've always talked about a bit of everything in Japanese. Before this episode, I talked about the trip and what happens in Thailand. For listener, you're going to listen to the episode which was taken on October 2 years ago. Quick heads up before we dive in. The audio quality for this episode is a bit lower than usual because it was taken from a video recording. Thanks for bearing with me, and I hope you enjoy this episode. About 2 months ago, I told you when I visited Thailand for 9 days this year, explaining in Japanese. Today I try to talk what happened in Thailand again. The beginning is associated one girl who was born in Songkhla, Thailand with my trip. Her name is Plewa. When she was still in Thailand, I taught her some Japanese words and phrases connecting to remote calling from Japan. But first, another Japanese guy who is 8 years younger taught her Japanese with the same way. On the way, I knew the girl on SNS. After I got along, I began to take communication with her. Gradually, she told me to want to study in Japanese university. She said me to be going to take a remote interview. She asked me how to pass an examination, so I started supporting for it. As a result, she passed the exam and got a chance to go to Japan. She first came by herself on March 27th last year. She landed in Kansai International Airport so that I pick her up and take her to the place where she was going to live. But she became homesick by some problems of relationships and others in university. At the day she would go back to her hometown, I took her to the same airport. For a while, she came back to Japan. I picked her up, then I took her some places in Namba, Osaka that she wanted to go. I paid many things for her. When we prepared clothes and high heels for entering the university, and when going having lunch and so on, I took care of whatever happened to her. So why I talk such a thing? Because those are connected at the beginning. Her parents already knew what I ever did for their daughter. They wanted to repay my kindness. Before the second time she went back to her hometown, her parents said her, how about taking him and coming together? So we planned when we should go there. On February 11th, we got on an airline, taken off at 9 p.m. and arrived at Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok at midnight. Her parents came together to the airport to pick up by their own car, but this time I couldn't go her home because I just said that she was born in Songkhla, which is located in south of Thailand. It's enough distance to take a half day to get there by car. But instead, we went to an apartment in which her aunt lives to stay for a few days. I was so nervous. I wasn't sure what her parents and aunt are like at the first time. But they are so kind. Especially her father took care of me while I stayed with her family. Always he said me, Hiroki, gin, gin. So this gin means eat or take foods in English. And I'm going to tell the story of Kanchanaburi later. He drove and took me there. And another, her aunt also was kind and helpful because she is the only person to be able to speak English, and she was married American husband for over 30 years. She told me herself and we enjoyed talking for a while. But her parents can't speak English and I can't speak Thai language, so that I couldn't tell them what I want to tell. Then I found a way. I used Google Translation to take communication with them. For example, when I wanted to smoke my tobacco, I asked them to smoke at the porch using translation. After I had an allowance, I could smoke there. Not only at the moment, there were some situations to do the way. Of course, Priwa acted as my translator, but I didn't bother her. The first day, she suggested to meet her friends who have known each other since she was a high school student with her and took me to the largest shopping mall in Bangkok. After we took a rest in a Thai restaurant, we finally met her best friend. But I can still remember her name. Then other friends joined us. 3 girls, 1 boy, and I went around the shopping mall. After we left there, we got on a taxi and went to a street which some stalls were arranged. I met another boy whose name is Kapang at the street. Plewa, Kapang, and I remained to stay at the street. They bought ice cream and seemed to enjoy talking with taking ice cream. Then we went to his university, because the university is near the street across the roadways. They were speaking Thai language, so that I didn't get what they're talking about. I think they talked like what do you do now or what they're going to do in the future. Walking through the university, after that, Plewa and I went back to the place in which her family was staying. On second day, in the morning, Plewa and I went to a train station by taxi to wait her friend Kapang I met yesterday's evening. After we joined at the train station, we got on the railway and went somewhere. At lunchtime, we had Thai noodles. I forgot the name of the ramen shop, but it was so delicious. Then took me the most famous place, the Grand Palace, which was crowded with a lot of journeys such as Chinese, European, and Japanese as well. While we went there, I got lost in the Grand Palace because he was taking some pictures for her, many points. Many people in Thailand like taking selfies despite of generation. I didn't notice they were doing such a thing, and I suppose they were walking in front of me or behind me, so that I kept walking around the palace. I hadn't connected Wi-Fi. I couldn't make contact with them. But finally we could join together. She told me, "Why you move by yourself?" She was so annoyed. He also worried, but he talked many things to please me. Then he told me that he had to take several lectures in his university, so that we said goodbye to him after going out the Grand Palace. After he left us in main city, I met another friend who is a girl and be smaller than Plewa, but is so pretty. She must be the same age as her. At the moment, there is an event that I couldn't keep my anger bottle up. While the girls were shopping and I was looking at some products, Plewa said to me, "Try to speak with my friend in Thai language." Like a game was certainly started. At the same time, she said, "Buy the shirts for me." This is just her joke, but I got to accept her request without question. So when I would pay in cash, she said, "Oh no, it's a joke, it's a joke." There's no choice that she always had a high tension. I got to say anger with low voice like, "Don't do that." After we finished shopping, we got on and sitting on in the bus. A female was sitting on the same next window beside a Plewa and her friend sitting behind me. A few minutes later, I noticed that a woman next to me stood up to get off the bus, so I made a way for her. Most of Japanese take that manner when other passengers begin to prepare for getting off. But Zeizo, he got off the bus by mistake, so that girl stopped me doing it. I was supposed to say, "I'm sorry, it's my manner." Nevertheless, I got exhausted by going out for a long time and her high tension. I was lacking in judgment. I made a fist and threw the seat I was sitting on like boom. And shortly I started crying. unconsciously and said, "I'm sorry for them." And we got off the bus. We called taxi and went back to the apartment. Her friend talked a lot of things to please me and asked me, "How do you think about Japanese skill, which Playwear has, and what do you like to do?" Finally, I discussed studying foreign language with her, speaking English while we were getting on the taxi. I appreciate her kindness. I want to repay for her, but I couldn't ask her name and she doesn't use SNS. It's only to have met her directly. I'm looking forward to seeing her in Thailand someday. Next day, Playboy's father drove and took me to Kanchanaburi as a family travel. It took almost 3 hours to get there. Before getting it, we went to the oldest ruins, Ayutthaya province, on the way. Playboy, her mother, an aunt wearing gorgeous traditional clothes, and I took a family picture. And another, I had to get own environment of internet connection because her aunt told me you had to buy a SIM card. We went to mobile shop and her father cooperated to buy or register my own SIM card. That setting was locked so that I couldn't get it. For instead, Playboy phoned her father and asked him to put her through to Hiroki on the phone. "If you cannot get your SIM card, you should get your pocket Wi-Fi," she said in Japanese. At last, I paid 2,000 bahts in cash to get it. According to American dollar, it cost almost $60. After I got pocket Wi-Fi, we finally arrived in Kanchanaburi and went to outdoor restaurant. I ate several Thai dishes. Then we were looking for an accommodation. Driving through the street, we found a hotel that had 2 empty rooms and stayed as Bamboo House Resort. There were 5 houses that are really made of bamboo. It has a wide garden and we can see the Kwai Yai River from the terrace. It was a good landscape, enough to sing my favorite jazz standards. "When I fall in love, it will be forever." Yeah, like this. I had to take a sleep early, but I couldn't fall asleep because I had a complex emotion. Honestly, I loved her. She was pretty and also seemed intelligent. She showed me how many times she spent to study about Japanese language, culture, and history since I first met her. But I took bad attitude for her, so that I decided to apologize and tell a propose for her. I considered such complex thinking, so this is why I couldn't fall asleep. At 5 a.m. next morning, Playboy and her parents took me a train station. Last night, she suggested getting on the train at Kanchanaburi station. Playboy and I got the first train, but her parents didn't get it because they planned to drive and arrive at the station that we are going to get off before we arrived. And which we got on is Bulima Railway. She told me a story of being built in a train. Japanese army invaded Thailand and had some prisoners of war such as British, Australian and others built the railway. Though over 10,000 prisoners died, the railway was finished constructing in 1943. This story is historically famous enough to be a film, The Bridge on the River Kwai, directed by David Lean in 1957. After we arrived at the station and joined her parents together, we returned to Kanchanaburi, and I went to a war museum with her. We became just the 2 of us. I told her, "I love you," and all I wanted to tell her, as if Joe Kuka sings like, "You are so beautiful." Then we talked something, and walking around the museum, we returned to Bangkok by her father's drive. On the way, she asked me, "We are lovers, aren't we?" At first, I didn't know what she meant. Then she told me, "Actually, I have a boyfriend who is the same student of my university." When I first heard such a thing, I was surprised and shocked that she had a relationship with another guy. I tried to calm my mind down by myself, but gradually my tears overflowed from my eyes. I wonder how many times I brushed my tears. Finally, we got Main Street of Bangkok, and her father took a rest and ladies went shopping. I wanted to go out, so that I asked her father to walk a street. He said, "Oh, okay," and went outside of the car. I was crying so loudly at the back alley. I don't wanna miss you. If I could go back the time using time machine, I would say, what the ugly duckling this is. I heard that her family had to go back to Songkla because they had to do their own work. They told me we have to say goodbye to you tomorrow. But instead, her father looked for a hostel for me, and finally, he said, "You're lucky, my son." I'm glad to hear that. While her family and she were taking a sleep, I was so crying. I had sadness of having to say goodbye to her parents and losing her love. So many tears were falling down like Niagara Falls. Next day I said goodbye and her parents went toward their home. Then I went to hostel and checked in. I fell asleep at my bed. During staying at the hostel, I met a young man who is Japanese and his name is Kokoro. He had been working as a backpacker who had traveled all around the world. I still have a connection with him, and he lives in the same city. When he returned to Japan, I'm sometimes invited to go for a drink as well as a cup of coffee. While I stayed in Thailand, he took me to Chinatown and Chatuchak Market, which is held every weekend. That atmosphere looks like a festival. I booked their airline before I checked out the hostel, and February 20th, I got on the airline and returned to my hometown. This is what happened in Thailand. I'll never forget that humanity or kindness. After I arrived at a Kansai airport and got a limited express, I was listening to the best-known music of Eagles, Desperado. While listening to it, I comforted myself. Desperado, why don't you come to your city? What a stupid end this story is. Yeah, but I got good memories at the time. Fortunately, I shared SNS with her father. He always sent me a picture with a sentence, "Happy Monday, Happy Tuesday." I really appreciate him. And her mother posts a video on TikTok every day, so that I'm always looking forward to seeing what video she will post.